Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this Congress for the fourth time this year. Dr. Senthil, thank you so much. Before we go into talking about personal branding for all of you as medical professionals, I'm sure many of you might have some sketchy and faint idea about what personal branding is all about. You just have two speakers talking about digital marketing in various forms and formats. But what is, at the end of the day, is personal branding after all. And here we go to that, and that's what we call brand you. Each one of us, each one of you are already a brand. The challenge with most of us is that we don't recognize that. Neither we put a kind of, say, structured effort to build a personal brand that really stands out. In a sea of white coat professionals such as yours, how do you stand out makes all the difference. Your personal brand is equally important as your bedside manners with your patients. And with that theme, let me go over to here a small brief of myself. After 30 years in career in medtech, pharmaceutical, and healthcare industries, I now act as a second career for me as visiting faculty to ISB Hyderabad. I am and other B schools, where I have got a couple of core topics. One of them definitely talks about personal branding. I request all of you who can actually scan the QR code, and over the next 60 seconds, please do interact. Since personal branding is a
name, the known face, and every patient wants to connect to you, be it OPD, be it surgery, you are marketing yourself left, right, and center. But if you are part of a system or an institution where there are multiple doctors, then number one, that one person will tire out working while the rest are not in a position to give their full efficiency because you've only branded one person. If you brand the institution, then you can't do a personal branding. If you do a personal branding, you can't brand the institution. So there is a big dilemma that if a person has a personal branding and he starts aging, let's say I am 65, people say, well, you have branded yourself, but you would be there for another 5 years, actively operating or doing. What happens to the institution after that?
Doctor, I will take, as I listen to you, there are two parts to your question. I will take one at a time. The first, you talked about, there is an inherent conflict in your question in personal branding and branding your practice or branding your institution. That's part one. And the second, what if the brand after you? So I will answer that in two parts. Let me first and foremost, because possibly this is the commonest of the question that I hear, what is the personal brand got to do with the institution's brand? And hence, you must understand that branding has got an architecture. Overall, if you look into your own practice, that if you have got a practice of, say, brand X, that's your institution brand. That's what we call corporate brand. Under corporate brand, your kind of leadership, because every corporate brand is led by one or two prominent surgeons, in your specific case of ophthalmology, and they become the leadership brand. So, for example, Dr. Debashish represents Disha, which is a corporate brand. But Dr. Debashish, over the years and decades, has knowingly, unknowingly created for himself a leadership brand in the community of ophthalmology, in the patient's community as well. The third piece is what I call personal brand that we talked about. And here's the journey begins, and there is no inherent conflict. For someone to create a personal brand is not necessarily at conflict with the corporate brand. That has to be in alignment with the corporate brand, as long as you are building a corporate brand or you are working under a corporate brand. But at the same time, when I say there is not necessarily a conflict, that means there is an opportunity on a side hustle to start creating your own personal brand one click at a time in digital world. In brick and mortar, we say one slab at a time or something like that. So you create your personal brand in congruence with your corporate brand. So there is not necessarily an inherent conflict between a corporate brand or institution's brand and a personal brand. That's one. Second, what if I am getting older and I want to pass on the legacy? At the same time, I also want to groom my younger team of doctors to create. That's where this becomes a systemic journey and not one individual's journey. So if you are holding a leadership position in your organization, in your enterprise, please do encourage your individual surgeons also to grow through 5Cs framework, as we said, because they need to get started with some content creation, presenting at different